The Yzerman presser. I think I was more excited for this exit interview than any other interview that I've ever had in my life with any other job, and maybe more interested than the Ken Holland exit interview last year,
2 years ago.
2 years ago. Seems like last year.
And Kenny just sitting on the left, just looking all sad.
Oh, that was great.
It was
Sweet.
it was interesting to
It
say the
was
least.
sweet.
So yeah, so Eisman actually was pretty candid in this. I thought more than he usually is. Usually he doesn't give you much of anything.
Well, the questions were so soft
Well, the questions are always soft here. I
and
mean,
answer with the, not even get into it. But yeah, I thought the presser was fantastic. I'll give it an A. I thought he gave us everything we wanted. I think we all wanted to hear about Cider. I think we all wanted to hear about Raymond, and of course Blashill. But I give it an A. I think he kills it every single time. I think the press loves him, obviously, and I think he doesn't mind answering hard questions.
yeah, I agree with that. I mean, Eisman's not afraid of hard questions. He's going to tell you what he's going to anyways, right? He's not going to actually. He doesn't care.
New policy.
New policy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think of course, we talked about Blashill, and we had another video on Blashill already done.
Mm-hmm.
So we won't talk too much specifically about that. Obviously, it was 2 years on Blash. But they are looking for, I thought this was interesting. In a lot of the press conference and in a lot of different answers, he talked about a need for offense, and
To a large extent too.
which is drastically different than what we normally hear out of everything Red Wings, which is defense this, defense that. I dreamt about defense last night.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't hear about that so much.
Dreamt
It
about
was actually
defense.
refreshing. It was kind of nice to understand that at least they have some appreciation of that they suck on offense.
Yeah,
So
he addressed it as professionally as possible, but it was pretty evident that we need to work on offense,
yeah, it was,
which I'm glad. It was refreshing. That's why I kind of give it an A too. A
and
plus if we would have fired Blash, but
but
here
yeah.
we
So
are.
I know like we were talking about offense, and they actually went through and past Blast, they talked about Billsman's gone, and
Mm-hmm.
I think there were
That's an
cheers. I
A.
think there were some cheers in the crowd there when that
Sure,
happened
yeah.
when he talked about that. And but then he started talking about they're looking for another assistant coach, and they really talked about how they wanted that assistant coach to be like an offensive strategist
Mm-hmm.
and bring some sort of offensive game plan or whatever else because we know Blash doesn't bring that. So at least Stevie's looking for
We
it
need an offensive coordinator for our
for our
hockey
hockey
team.
team. Oh man,
Gosh,
but yeah. So I mean, I think there's a lot of names out there for this. I know you have a favorite.
I do, I do. He just got fired by Arizona or Phoenix. I call him Phoenix. Rick Tocchet played with Roenick, played old hockey, but I mean, at old time hockey that he played back in the 90s and a little bit in the 2000s, I believe. But I think he brings he's a guy, locker room favorite. Guys love him. He's worked with Kessel over there, and Kessel's had a pretty good stint
Pretty good run in Arizona,
in Phoenix, I think.
Phoenix,
And I mean, given what that team actually was a fringe playoff, that team probably shouldn't even be knocking on the
a
door.
team.
Yeah, well, it shouldn't be a team. I mean, they should be in Phoenix. They weren't at the
Yeah, they shouldn't be in
Scottsdale,
Phoenix. Yeah,
whatever.
right.
But anyway, yeah, Rick Tockett's my favorite. I think he brings that head coach element to it in there, and I think he'd be a good fallback if Blash got fired.
Okay, I kind of see that. I thought they have you see in a couple places they had some lists of coaches coming up, their names coming up, talk about
On the
NHL.
site, right? Who
Yeah, I
Midland?
think Midland posted on the site about
Okay,
these, and I think they were off TSN his list. And I seen some other lists
it's a pretty
talk.
good list.
Yeah, I seen some other lists talking about it, and uh, one of the names that kind of stuck out because he was under Steve was I think it's Benoit Gruel. I think is
Hmm.
his name. He's a coach. He's the head coach of Syracuse Crunch, which is the Tampa Bay affiliate in the AHL.
Hmm.
And I think that's that's a kind of comfort zone for Steve again type thing. He knows the guy. I would imagine pretty well. So maybe that's kind of a guy. I don't know tons about his. I mean, the AHL guys. I don't know that well from a coaching perspective. I don't watch enough AHL hockey, but
I would if they broadcast it on Bally Sports Network.
Bally's, yeah. Um, but yeah. So I could see that being a fit, right? It's
It
a
would
guy.
fit.
It's
It
a
makes
guy Steve
sense.
knows. And Steve generally trusted a lot of kids to the AHL. Grand Rapids has kind of always been like a mix of AHL lifers and then some kids trickling through.
Hmm.
But Steve would trust the prospects in the to these guys in the AHL, and so that at least leads to some discussion about there's some level of trust there.
Yeah, I mean,
about their development.
I think that whole system's actually really good. I mean, you're talking about a system that's brought up what Kucherov, Stammer came through there, right? Stamkos.
I don't know if those guys really came. I mean, Stamkos was what, first overall,
Yeah,
third overall,
yep. And
something like
I
that.
mean, that's a
He's,
pretty good. I still think it's a pretty good system. I mean, they brought up some guys in there that kind of fit in perfectly. What
but a
have
lot of that, like their bottom of their roster, has cycled through there, and I
Braden
mean,
Point come through there?
yeah, Point would have went through there, yeah. So yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of places. Did Point play college? I don't actually know where Point came from, to be honest
I
with you.
think he did play college.
But so anyways, yeah, there's that would make sense. It's a comfort move. He knows the guy. I think the other one you hit so was Hitchcock, right?
Yeah, Kenny Hitchcock. I mean, a lot of players make fun of this guy because of his voice. Like you wouldn't think this guy's
Yeah,
voice.
yeah,
You've
yeah.
heard of it?
Yeah,
Ryan
I've heard
Reeves
of
talk
him,
about
yeah.
him, but I think he would bring a good dynamic to that team. I think the people that I've seen that have played for him love him. They think he's a little bit of a bastard, but he kind of coaches like he does things to get a rise out of you to kind of show him that you care about it. And with Blash, I don't think that ever happens. It's like talking to a vacuum. It's like
Yeah,
speaking in a vacuum.
yeah.
Nothing gets through.
Just
It's just a
nothing
wall.
goes. Yeah.
It's just a wall.
The only thing you
And
hear back is defense.
yeah, and I mean it causes the guys to stand up for each other. And when you have that kind of cohesiveness in the locker room, it goes out in the ice. And I think we miss that right now. So if we have somebody like Tockett or Hitchcock, in my opinion, in that locker room talking to these guys, I mean, you know, I feel like the assistant coaches have more to do with culture than the head coach, except in this case because Blashill seems like a control freak, complete control freak, and I think that's what's happening here with the Bilesma Blashill, but different video. But yeah, those are my two. I love Kenny Hitchcock. I think he's proven. Had that Dallas team,
Yeah, he did have that Dallas team. They
a
did pretty
really good
well.
Dallas team too.
Another guy out there was Boudreaux, who I'm not real excited about at all.
And when
Um,
we laughed about this, every time the camera pans on
he looks like he's
that
lost.
fat guy, it looks lost. Like it's
Boudreaux, though, I will give it for Boudreaux, though. I mean, he had a bunch of like division winning teams. Like when he was in Anaheim, his teams were very good.
team was stacked though.
That's
Bobby
true.
Ryan, Corey Perry in his prime,
Yep.
Ryan Getzlaff,
Yep.
more than young Ryan
Yeah,
Getzlaff,
Ryan gets awfully young. Really not. Yeah, he was a real great player then.
Chris Pronger, right? Was Pronger on that team?
I don't recall.
It was after Babs, so I think he was Pronger. Scott Niedermeyer.
Niedermeyer.
Damn, that's good. Good team.
Yeah, it was a good team.
Good
But
team.
still, we had great teams that didn't do anything too, right? So I mean, whatever.
Yeah, that 01 team, right?
But okay, so back to Steve. Talked about a lot of different stuff. I think a lot of it was like the preparedness of the team, which he actually liked. I don't, man. I have a hard time agreeing with this in some ways. Like, there's a lot of nights where we had nothing going, so I don't know how you really call it well
The
prepared.
guy's played the game for 19 years, so he probably knows way about more than we do. But from what I've seen, from the eye test, it wasn't even close to preparedness. There was times where they come right out of the gate and just suck, and then obviously they would get their legs going, whether they got yelled at in the locker room or not. But you got to come out completely ready.
Yeah, I mean, if
Babs
you're talking about preparedness, like you're talking like stepping on the ice, ready to go, right?
ready to go. You know exactly what's going to happen as soon as you step on the ice. We're going to win this face off. We're going to go down here and set something up here. I
Well, for us, we're gonna win the face off. We're gonna dump the puck
dump the
in.
puck,
We're gonna retreat. Make a
turnover,
quick line
coming
change.
back, bench
Yeah,
minor, penalty kill.
the bench miner. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, gotta have a bench miner in there somewhere.
Blashill special.
So yeah, he talked about he liked the team being prepared. He thought Blashill was well prepared. I
I
don't
didn't
know.
see it. Did you see it? I
I
didn't
didn't
see
see
it,
it. I didn't see it.
but we'll pass over that.
Then he talked about like on top of being prepared. He talked about we played hard, but then at the same time he said there's a lot of nights we didn't play good.
What do you think that means?
I don't, man, that one kind of blew my mind because it was like, okay, like I just mean we skated hard in like the wrong direction. I don't know, but
What's the point skating? You know what I'm saying? I know exactly
but
what
then we
you're
weren't
saying.
prepared though either. Then
Which way
right?
are we skating here?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
You got to prepare for that. I guess I don't
Yeah,
know.
maybe we just didn't prepare in the right places.
Mm.
I'm not sure. Um, at the same time, you don't expect him to come out and down on the team, right? Like,
I don't expect them.
so
I know we're critical of it, but man, we've seen the good and we've seen the bad, and
and this
we
is
lived through Dead Wing era, right? Did we? No, I was
nah,
born in '89, so
yeah,
no.
no,
I just remember watching. They still have those videos up on YouTube, so I've watched a couple of them.
yeah, we didn't feel the real pain.
No, we didn't.
So this is kind of our pain now. And I guess it's just in the form of Blashill. It's like purgatory.
It is. It really is, though. I mean, I
But
guess they got some more parking at LCA, so I guess that's something we can look forward
new
to, right?
parking?
Yeah, right in front, right there, closer to 75.
Oh yeah, that's probably like $50 a spot though.
Yeah, on Tuesdays it's 10, so it's worth it for the
Okay.
Tuesday game. You get there 3 o'clock, 4 hours for the
Yeah,
game.
4 hours for the
Work,
game.
go get hammered, go to the game because you're gonna have a better time getting
Oh,
hammered than watching this team play in the third period.
but it's $10 parking, so
$10
but then
parking.
you can't drive home. Um,
I'll just leave it. Yeah,
yeah,
fuck it, just leave it there.
but yeah, so I guess you get your money's worth. Um, but so then I think something for a lot of people that like cider definitely in the NHL.
Man,
Um,
we've everybody loves the prospect talk, and
yeah,
I don't blame them. I
I
really
mean
don't
it's the
blame them.
future, right? Like the
It
present sucks,
is
so you're trying to look towards the future. Cider will be in the NHL next year per Steve,
per Steve.
and
Yes,
that's a big deal. That'll make it entertaining to watch.
I think that's between Cider and Raymond. That's the only two he really talked about
Well,
in
he also
depth.
define like actual names thrown out there. Raymond, he did say would he'd have to make it out of camp if he was
Right.
going to make it, which is kind of interesting because I think a lot of the times the Swedish prospects don't come to training camp.
They
So,
all I heard was he's got to make it out of camp. He's going to get an entry level contract next year.
well,
That's what I heard, and I mean that can mean going over to Sweden. I
well,
maybe.
that's the thing though. Like the SHL starts early, so
Hmm.
usually the Swedish prospects they'll come to the prospect tourney or
Hmm.
whatever in Traverse City, but they don't come to. Usually the Swedish and the Finnish prospects don't come to training camp because the SHL or the Liga are already going to be started.
I would like
So
to.
I don't know if he's going to see the AHL next year.
That'd
Maybe.
be great. I mean, I think that'd be great. That's something we can watch.
Yeah, I mean we can watch that. We can travel to over to Grand Rapids,
Right.
catch a few. But
On
you can watch
Thursday,
watch
beer
it
nights.
at Dollar Beer Nights. That'd be nice. Um, but there's those two. But he also did mention like um the guys being out of waiver eligibility, and he basically said they'd have to be really bad not to make the team. Um, so you're talking like
That's assuring, really.
yeah, well, yeah, you're talking like the Rasmussens. Valeno still has a year of eligibility for waivers, but you're talking like Cholowski. I think Lindstrom's out of options.
Hmm.
So those guys obviously they're going to play unless they're terrible, and I think Rasmussen's definitely made an argument. I think Valeno has two though, but we'll see what he
Both of those
does.
guys should play full time next year.
I
Should.
I agree, but I'm not going to put it on the line that they will. He mentioned Larkin a little bit.
Upper body injury, wouldn't say much. He said to remain consistent answer, upper body injury day to day. No surgery.
Yeah, no surgery. Bert obviously had surgery,
Right.
back surgery, but he'll make a full recovery before the next season. Um, he said that he went to take care of his coaches first, so his coaches are done except for whoever they're going to go for the assistant coach, and then he was going to take care of the players. And there's some contracts out there.
I mean, we did a video on it. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think pretty much cover what they're gonna do. But I think priority one should be Bernier
Okay, you
going
think?
first.
Okay.
Or Verana, either one of those two, 1A, 1B. I think you do sign Verana. Longer term, I'd quit with the bridge deal stuff with this guy. Get him long term. We want you here because he didn't have that over in Washington. They didn't want him there.
Yeah, he's like a
And
spare part in Washington.
exactly. So we want you here. You did a fantastic job in the season. We need exactly what you have all around the board. So I do add him to that priority list and Bernier. I think Bernier wants to be here. I think he's played well enough to be here.
Okay.
And I think he'll get the time.
Okay.
Aside
I
from
could,
anywhere else,
yeah.
where else is he going to start?
How he's played, he could.
Ottawa? I think going to Ottawa to die.
I don't know. He could probably get a job in a lot of places. I don't know about starter necessarily, but he might not be started here. Grice played pretty well.
He did. He didn't have a choice. It was Caden Fulcher or whatever.
Yeah, he came Fulcher. Is it Fulcher or Fulcher?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Slightest
I
clue.
should know that. Yeah. Then I mean, Yzerman kind of talked about what's next, and he wouldn't put years to anything. He would put deadlines, which is smart, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think his timeline, just from what I heard, is 5 years. So we're 2 years into this, 3 more years. I think French team maybe 2 years from now, and then at third year you really kind of start setting
I think
expectations, goals.
2 years from now, you want to be at the bottom if you want to be anywhere, right?
Well, I think 2 years you're a fringe team. So if you make it out, it depends on how everybody else goes because Ottawa's going to be better, Anaheim's going to be terrible. So it's going to be a
I think
race to the bottom
Anaheim
with them.
might come around.
Well, they just fired their coach too, so it depends on who they hire too.
Yeah, they might do well though after
They're a
that.
bigger issue out there. So I don't know. I think the 5 year term, he said it's going to take a long time. I have in my notes here. It's going to take a long time. And a long time to me is 5 years. So even if we're two
Okay.
years into the five, or the five starts now, one of the two. Five
Just
starts now
well,
wouldn't be
you think,
surprising me.
they got rid of Mantha, and
Hmm.
now that, quote unquote core that we had is kind of in question now. So I think 5 years from now is probably more realistic.
Hmm.
Um, I think you're gonna start to see like the 1-2 year vet deals come in, deadline gone,
Hmm.
and then just keep putting prospects in until we maybe we hit on something because without hitting on like big names or key pieces, which I mean you still can outside of the top 10. It happens. It's more rare though.
Well, contracts are gonna get more expensive in 5 years too,
Well,
right?
yeah, that's true.
Because Sider's gonna get his. He's
Yeah,
gonna be signed
he'll be
long
signed
term.
long
He's gonna be
term.
signed long term.
I think that might be
Raymond.
one you see like right out the gate will be the 8 year kind of deal.
Well, you
That's
move Larkin, there's your captain right there. So we know that's gonna happen if Larkin moves. Now,
I think
man, that's I think that's the biggest question going in
is
next year
Larkin.
is Larkin.
What happens with
What
him long
happens with
term?
Larkin? Does he pick it up and we play better, or does, hey, here's Dylan Larkin for 2 first rounders or something like that, or a prospect, whatever? I don't
Yeah,
know,
I
but
don't know.
yeah, I think he's your long term. The player, I do think 1A 1B needs to be Bernier and Verana. I
To
do
be
believe
signed.
that to be signed right
Yeah,
away.
yeah, I agree. Those are the two most
Well,
important
timeline's
pieces to
so
sign.
right. We don't even have a. Do we have a date for the draft?
We do. I don't know it offhand.
Tentative or something like that, and then you got the expansion draft.
The ex-
Expansion draft's July, right?
I don't
Or
know. I don't know the off.
timeline.
I don't know the off season.
Unprepared.
Yeah, we're
We're unprepared.
unprepared. We suck. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say other than like it was actually a pretty long conference. Steve usually doesn't talk that long. But it was good. It was fun to listen to.
It was refreshing to kind of hear honesty
Yeah,
instead of a
yeah, I would agree.
"we're done,"
Yeah,
So it was really refreshing to hear that. Man, I feel bad for the guys on the team right now that are kind of going through this, because the skills there. It's just, this is probably a huge mess, and we have no one else to thank but Ken Holland for this. So I'm glad
Ooh.
Edmonton got eliminated first round, and I hope every single contract in there is a nightmare going forward for Edmonton.
On that note, like, comment, subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
Check us out, wingscast.com.
Mm-hmm.
See you guys next time.
See ya.